Good evening. So tonight I thought I would do a longer reading actually, a Rune Tarot pick. We've also got the Chakra Oracle cards as well, so we will pick one of those to go with your reading. So before earlier I did a little tiny reading on the beach where we'd got Gebo and the Ace of Cups, and I found that quite an interesting one, so I thought we'd get a little bit clearer, elaborate more on that. So what I tend to do with my readings is we pick a rune first of all that's the overall what the reading's about. So we're just going to pick a rune for that now. So if you've got a question on your mind, if there's anything that you would like to know, then put that question into your mind right now as we pick the rune, and let's hopefully see if this reading answers your question. Okay, so the first rune we have is Isa. So that's the overall consciousness of the reading. So what that means is Isa is a rune of being present, being in the moment. So this might be a point in your life right now where things are on hold. Things are just, you get perhaps going through a bit of a transition right now. And if you feel like things aren't moving for you, or there's obstacles in the way of you moving forward in the way that you want to, Isa is probably being placed there on purpose to make you stay present where you are. It might be that you have to, it's a bit like, the analogy I like to use is kind of like if you've had a blowout on the motorway, you're waiting for the AA or the RAC or whatever, and you have to sit there, you have to stay with yourself. Hagalaz kind of has that energy as well, but with Isa today, it feels very much like you are being made to sit with yourself, and that might be uncomfortable. It might not be a great feeling for you. So we're just going to pick a rune now for sort of like the higher consciousness of what this reading is about. Okay, so Manas. So you might be looking into yourself right now. So the higher consciousness goes above the ego, more like the soul needs. And with Manas is about the service that we provide, how we are viewed socially, how we come across to other people, what we think about ourselves as well, as sort of how we feel other people perceive us and our energy. So like Manas might be the person that writes a book, leaves a legacy that is remembered for that book, that kind of thing. So what you imprint into your world is how you're going to be remembered. And you might be really looking deeply into yourself, perhaps doing some shadow work at the moment as to, what traits do you have? What are you bringing, and what impact do you have on people around you and in your life? So that's kind of coming through whilst you're in Isa, sat there with yourself. So Manas we put at the top there with that higher consciousness. There is an element of depression as well sometimes with Manas, where it can feel a heavier sort of energy, where you can feel more sort of like not feeling great about yourself right now, perhaps looking into aspects of yourself that are rejected parts of yourself, the things that, they make up who you are. They are a part of you, but you don't necessarily like them or think that they are good qualities, but they're worth you understanding why they're there. Okay, now we're looking at the subconscious now, and we have Perthro. And Perthro it's a strange rune really. There's not much information about this rune when you first like looking into runes. And with Perthro, it can represent the feminine sexuality. It can represent taking a chance, taking a risk. So your subconscious mind right now might be in a bit of a panic, might be feeling some perhaps urges, feeling quite in a sort of primal mind right now, and again, I think it's linked to that higher self energy coming through, what you're seeing, what you're understanding about yourself. It may have some links to sexual energy. Maybe you're looking into the shadow aspects of that right now within yourself, and that's coming through. So because it's subconscious, you might not realize this at the moment, but there's just those little, this reading might actually be bringing that in for you into your conscious mind now, into what you're thinking. So there's a chance coming where you may decide to take a gamble on something, to take a chance, but it might be completely out of what you would normally do. And this is quite a feminine rune on this one, so it's perhaps coming from a place of emotion. So we will place that one just down there. Let's see where you've come from. So where have you come from recently? The runes on here. Okay. So where you've come from is a lot of work with yourself around perhaps making sacrifices, and trying to make a commitment to yourself. So you've made a commitment to yourself, but it looks to me like perhaps you haven't fulfilled that commitment. You sort of feel like you haven't achieved what you were looking for, or what you thought you were going to find, and maybe you're back now into making a sacrifice again, or finding that energy. So this rune especially connects to your higher self as well. So it does connect to the crown center, bringing that higher consciousness energy in, which connects you with Manas then. So it's sort of like these two are together. So it's like commitment to yourself and what you bring to the world, how you're perceived. Maybe there's something going on there between what you feel you're committed to and actually what you bring in. Maybe they're not aligning right now, but you can. Let's see where we go from. So from Isa, from this moment where you're on freeze, sort of being just in the moment, not really moving anywhere, not able to move anywhere, just staying in there, thinking about, or perhaps potentially that opportunity of taking a chance, making a decision. Okay, and what you're moving into is action. So you're actually moving into a space of what you feel is coming up. I mean, you might not know it yet, but there is something that you will want to take a chance on, that you will think, actually, as part of my commitment to myself, what I said I was going to do, what I said I wanted, it's actually now manifesting, and you have brought that for yourself through this observation on yourself. And Thurazaz is allowing you now to take action with that. So it is, once you have sat in that observation, that being in the moment, it's going to be time for moving forward with action. So I'm going to pick 3 tarot cards now that go with that, just to give you a little bit more information on there. So this actually could be to do with relationships, and how you, but not necessarily you looking at another person. It's more about how you present in your relationships, what you bring and where you come from. Because that part of that commitment there is about you perhaps wanting to make a commitment in the future, but needing to have that commitment to yourself first, needing to understand what it is that you bring before you can move into that. So let's pick those 3 cards that go with this for you now. So first one, okay, I've got Ace of Cups. So that's the one that came out earlier this morning. Okay, Queen of Wands and the 8 of Pentacles. So we've got the Ace of Cups first of all. So you might feel like you're stuck in the moment right now. Just had YouTube pop into my head then. So you're in this space right now where there's not much movement going on, but you know that there is a new beginning coming up. And this card represents a lot of it's a good energy. It's almost like a new flow has began. Something new is coming in. It's fortunate. It comes from an emotional place, but not a bad place. So it's almost like the ether, the freeze started to melt now, and you can, so imagine if this cup was on freeze and then all of a sudden, you know, the sun comes through and it starts to melt and you can see it then overflowing through here. Water's a great energy at the moment, so good for cleansing, preparing for the year ahead, getting ready for the awakening of the earth. So when we start to step into spring and everything starts to flower and we're going to start to emerge and socialize a bit more, you kind of in the great place right now for what you're doing, that's allowing you to be in that moment ready to take action. So this does sound like it could be to do with commitment and taking action on that, but really observing how you want to be in that and what you want to bring to that. And then it's in your subconscious about there is going to be a time of taking a chance. And the energy of the next card, Queen of Wands, I love this card. So the Queen of Wands, it's very secure, very self-assured, self-confidence, good self-esteem. So maybe that's been an issue for you previously, that you perhaps haven't felt that your confidence has been right. Maybe you feel like your self-esteem has been quite low. There's another word I'm trying to find and I can't quite get it. It'll come back to me in a minute. Insecurity, I think, is the word, actually. That's what I'm looking for. So there's been a lot of insecurity about yourself and who you feel you are. Maybe it comes from previous experiences and energy from where you've been in the past in relationships, perhaps. And there's a fear there, potentially, of like you want to move forward in this new way. So you've had to sort of sit and observe yourself right now to see sort of like, why is that triggering this old version of myself, or things that have come from the past that perhaps are unresolved, aren't quite as healed as you thought they were. So the Queen of Wands and Perthrow is kind of like very much like feminine prowess. So it's like the energy of the feminine. This might actually represent addictions. So it might be about feeling like you can fall quite easily into being led into something. And there's a fear then of keep going into that kind of cycle. So this is about you maybe wanting to approach something from a place of confidence and self-esteem, that commitment to yourself, rather than falling into traps, falling into taking a gamble on something and it not quite being what you thought it was. So yeah, there's a representation there of like standing in your power. And we don't own power. Power moves through us and we can use it, we can utilise it, but we don't own it. We don't want to be power over anything or under anything. We just want to be that power with, where we achieve balance. So yeah, we'll place that one down on there. So then the last card that came out was the Eight of Pentacles, but it was reversed. So when this card comes out and it's upright, this is kind of like paying attention to detail. So it's like the final touches, the finishing touches, getting everything just so, and really sort of focusing on there. So there might be perhaps a struggle here with that focus, with that attention to detail. Maybe you feel like you're missing something. Maybe you feel like you're not quite getting to the bottom of something. Maybe there's more questions to be asked. So it sounds like with Thorazaz, there might be opportunity here for you to actually, you need to take action. You need to step forward and perhaps ask the questions, get the answers, get the details. If you've got questions and things popping around in your head and they're just circling and circling and circling, you're not getting the answers for them, then you can use Thorazaz to really like break that up. But you have to take action. You have to do something. Sitting on it by yourself, you're just going to keep circling around the same things, and then you just theorizing basically as to what the answers are and what they mean. So the 8 could represent as well the month of August. So perhaps there's been a situation that's come from about that point in time, and you're working towards a different version of yourself now from that point. Maybe something happened there that caused you to pay more attention to yourself and how you proceed with people in your life. So okay, so the card that we've got is creation, and this is working with the crown center. So it is trying to channel and listen to that higher consciousness. So a lot of the time, and a lot of our experiences can be more down in the lower part of the energy centers, and where the ego sort of dwells. But this is asking you to kind of like rise above the ego needs, and it's asking you to look more deeply into soul need. So I think I've said this before about what you want right now and what you want most. So I think you're being asked to step up a little bit higher, perhaps, you know, the energy of the buzzard, circling around, taking a higher perspective on a situation. So you're actually seeing the bigger picture rather than just focusing on that one little piece. So again, that might be working with the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. If you're focusing too intently on one tiny little thing, it's just spinning you out constantly. It's not allowing you to take action. It's not allowing you to move forward. It's actually creating what manas can sometimes represent, which is like that melancholy, that kind of like you're exhausting yourself mentally with the thought process on this. So perhaps now it's time with Perthrow to take that chance, move forward from the mental side of things into more the physical side of things, which is taking action and actually bringing forward that what you want to create for yourself, where you want it to be. And it's interesting because in the card she's by the birch tree. It's sort of like the medicine woman, and the birch can represent like a fresh start, like hygiene, working with it's when the birch starts to when we come into spring, you can actually tap the birch tree for the sap. You can drink it straight from the tree. It's very, very cleansing, very refreshing. And I think that's where you are right now, is like you need this new fresh perspective, this new fresh start. So allow yourself to get out of that little section of what you're thinking and allow yourself to expand on the bigger picture. See the bigger picture. See things more clearly for how you want it to be. And it might be that situations have brought you into a point of like being very much focused on just this one thing, but actually there's so much more to the picture that you're not seeing, not allowing yourself to see. So take that risk, take that chance. But it's time perhaps now. You've been in Isa for too long, perhaps. Maybe you are starting to feel the thaw now. You know, the ice is starting to melt so that you can actually step out from the big thaw into that ability to take action, to actually stand up, speak up, like this one's telling you. So I feel like there's been fear there where you have in the past, you know, formed that connection with yourself and said, right, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. And there's been events that have tested that, maybe challenged that for you and made you feel more like, oh, you know what, I'm not quite ready for this. And maybe you weren't, maybe you're not ready. But this is kind of suggesting that perhaps it's not that you weren't ready, but this has allowed you to understand more about yourself and about what you bring to the world and who you want to be, and how you want your life to be. So there's a lot of power that can come from that, is recognizing that and allowing yourself to move forward Okay, so I've just picked another card now which says soulmate on it. So this, it feels like it might be, it's definitely a relationship with yourself, I think, first and foremost, but possibly stepping into maybe somebody is mirroring your soul right now. Okay, yeah, so like if you look at manas, it looks like two wunyos that are mirroring each other. And wunyo is about harmony and joy, like ecstatic joy, and it can be like the signal of a beginning of a relationship. Just like the Ace of Cups is like a signal to the beginning of something new, especially in relationships. So maybe this is about you, if you see the little eye on the hand there, about you seeing a little bit clearer, and maybe with the face in a different direction. Like open your eyes, take another look and see what's right in front of you potentially. You can keep spiraling around into these thought processes that just keep going around and round and round, and you've sat in Isa with those, and it's kind of creating that, like with manas, that sort of depressed feeling of like it's just going round and round and you're not really moving forward with it. So it's time now for you to take that action. And that action, it might not be reaching out to somebody specifically, it might be going to get counselling perhaps, or it might be taking yourself out of the environment that you've been in for a little while, getting outside, enjoying and just being more present with that. So that's looking like, so if that resonates with you at the moment, and perhaps you are just started a new relationship, or you just come out of a relationship, or you're working on that relationship with yourself, and you would like perhaps to know a little bit more about this. So this one's just a general collective reading, so it's more generalized because it's not specific to any one person. But if you would like a deeper reading, you can ask one question, and I'm doing those readings this evening. They're £10 each. I'll send the link along with this video, and if you would like that, then I will aim to get them to you before midnight tonight. I'll do as many as I can. Obviously, I can't do loads and loads and loads. So yeah, just let me know if that resonates with you and you would like a further reading. So have a wonderful evening, and I will speak to you soon. Blessed be.